Welcome to day 145 of our BitClout journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein here with my twin brother Brian. And the new showcase launched yesterday at around 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific. And there's a lot of cool NFTs out there. I think people are really excited about seeing a new showcase so they could be exposed to new NFTs, although the discovery process is still kind of lacking. It's kind of hard to really find new NFTs on the platform itself. But I think it kind of gave a spike to NFT bids last night. How long that's going to keep going, I don't know. I'm guessing we're kind of in a lull a little bit, and that can be expected.
I noticed, especially last night, like the last 12 hours. So from like 9 p.m. Eastern time last night all the way till like this morning, a lot of creator coins have been being sold off. And from what I can tell, they're mostly creator coins of users who have been relatively inactive the last few weeks. So they're probably warranted sales. And I'm wondering if people are trying to reposition themselves, like get some clout in their account so that they can buy new creators, NFT artists, and maybe some NFTs. I hope that's what's happening. I hope that they're just going to reposition themselves in creator coins and in NFTs. Rather than just holding the clout, because if that happens, then there's going to be less velocity of clout on the platform, and there'll be less engagement and just less interaction.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well, and it's really hard to say for sure what's happening, but I too hope that it's just these creators that are selling inactives to invest into artists and other creators that are coming onto the platform. The Coinbase listing's coming soon. Hopefully by September 1st, if all goes as planned.
Yeah, at least we think it is. I mean, it's no guarantee. It's just what the rumors that are circulating say.
Yeah, so I mean, Coinbase comes and it'll be interesting. Do we see a sell-off? Do people who haven't been able to sell on blockchain and AscendX, do they sell on Coinbase? Do we see an influx of new people buying BitClout just because Coinbase is filled with all of these speculators and crypto investors and crypto gamblers, I guess you could call them. Maybe we see a huge influx of new money flowing in BitClout. And if that's the case, you would also assume that we're going to see new members come on board. Maybe it kind of equals out and the price just stabilizes at around $100. Maybe, there's enough sellers to match buyers and we don't see too much price movement. But my guess is we will see price movement. Whether it's up or down, it's really going to be kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I would lean towards it increasing the price, but usually the opposite of what you expect happens. So who really knows? I think that it will spawn a lot of new users. So that's a positive. I don't really particularly look at the coin price too much. I know we talk about it every day, but that's just for like analysis. I don't really care too much about the coin price personally. I care about what I'm seeing being developed and the user engagement and number of new users entering the platform, as well as users who are active on the platform. So I think that's a lot more important to the future of BitClout than the price of clout. The price of clout will always catch up to how much usage there is of it. So we want activity, and like I do notice that there are a lot of people that were active who are no longer active. I hope that once things pick up, that they all come back, and I hope that the Coinbase listing will spur on that further adoption and activity, because we do need that, and that's very important. And I also think that the new front end that they keep teasing, I think that's going to help things somewhat as well.
Yeah, there's been some speed issues as well since yesterday, I guess, or maybe the day before. So that's something that needs to be resolved. You can't go mainstream with a social media site that takes forever to load. As far as the price goes, it's like nobody really knows. But I do remember back in like 2013 or so when Bitcoin was trading between like $450 and $1,000. I remember me and you discussing, and we came to the conclusion that Bitcoin was either going to go to zero or close to it, or shoot up to 20,000 at some point. And we now know that it went well past 20,000. So I think we've got to look at BitClout in the same light. It's either going to it could fail. And if that happens, it's going to fall to zero or close to it. But it could also succeed, and it could go mainstream, and it could become the future of social media. And if that's the case, there's no telling how high it could go.
Yeah, it's a skewed return curve. So, I mean, the amount you can lose is a lot less than what you could gain if it succeeds. So I do think you got to keep that in mind. Like anything, don't invest more money than you can afford to lose. Don't try and convince people to buy the coin. Convince them to get on the platform and use the platform, but don't push them to buy the coin unless they have spare cash to buy it with. I think that's the best thing that anybody can tell you right now. Something else, Bitswap closed their doors yesterday officially. And I know that they've been struggling. The site was down for a couple of months, I believe, and we didn't really know what exactly was going on. Yesterday, they announced that they're shutting their doors. It's just too hard to keep up with running an exchange like that. There's so many regulations. There's so many security issues. And I think as Coinbase comes on, it would have been really difficult for them to really catch on themselves because there isn't that demand for another exchanger if Coinbase is there.
Yeah, like Bitswap was really great before there were exchangers from BitClout. It gave people an opportunity to buy and sell. And I think, like with Coinbase coming out, I think it's going to be really hard for another platform that does OTC like trades or uses smart contracts to do trades. I don't think it's real. I just don't think it's needed. I think ultimately the exchangers are going to be what's needed, and that's just what BitClout needs right now is a reliable exchanger that's trustworthy. Not to say that Bitswap wasn't, but it was just they weren't an established exchanger.
Yeah, and I think that like I would like these if they went from just an exchange to maybe swapping ARweave for BitClout, that would have worked, but the demand for it wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have worked. I think they needed to think outside the box, and there really wasn't a lot of ideas they could have come up with at this junction. I think that maybe in the future there will be maybe a market for specific creator coins where you can maybe trade creator coins. I don't know, but like at this point in time, I think they probably made the right decision just because they were probably bleeding a lot of money.
Yeah, and hopefully Sigil hangs around and takes part in some other development projects because he's really brilliant.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a really young guy, really smart. He has a lot of drive. So, I mean, I'm sure he has a bright future. It's a shame that his project didn't work out like he had hoped. But I think it kind of taught us all a lesson, and that's just kind of know what you're getting into. I know there's a lot of businesses that spring up and they think they have a brilliant idea, which Sigil did, but they don't realize how much it takes to actually succeed. So I wish
when it comes to monetary exchange, there's so many legal aspects that you have to cover, and just the legal fees to get things right are monumental. Especially in the U.S. government is very keen on going after monetary exchange businesses because they can essentially get them for money laundering. And it's not something that's intentional, but unless you're doing KYC and you're monitoring transactions, that money could be money that's being laundered. And you as acting as an intermediary for that exchange become part of the money laundering operation in the eyes of the government, and in many cases. So there's a lot of issues legally that these exchangers have to go through in order to be operating in the US.
And it's not just something to just bat your eyes at. I mean, you can literally go to prison for decades for facilitating money laundering in the United States. So, I mean, Bitswap could have been this amazing exchange, but what if somebody laundered money through them? They could actually be seen as aiding and abetting that money laundering, and Sigil or whoever's doing that could face big time in prison in the US. I know he was in Canada, and I think the laws are a little more lenient here. But I think that all in all, I think that it was difficult for them, and I think I wish him.
And by no means is Brian saying that Sigil is going to prison because he didn't do anything wrong. So, but it's just like if once you get big and once you become an exchanger, you are opening yourselves up. If you're not using taking sound legal advice into account, which I believe Sigil actually did have a lot of lawyers who he is working with. So we're not insinuating that he was doing anything wrong whatsoever, but it's something you have to be careful with, and there's legal fees can really get high.
Yeah, so I think that's probably a good place to leave off. I think actually tomorrow will be our 100th video, even though it's our 144th day today, or
145th day.
145th. I think that we didn't start until like day 46 making videos. So this would be tomorrow will be our 100th straight day of making videos. We haven't missed a day, even on vacation. I'm actually going away on Thursday, so I'll probably have my phone, and Ed will be at his office filming.
Yeah, so we'll talk to you tomorrow.